Welcome to the course Digital Storytelling. My name is Luka Piškorec. I want to show you, if you, for example, have sketches, how you can work with sketches. So that's going to be the tutorial number 2, sketchbook editing. Also, here I have some sketches here that I scanned in a kind of a book. So these are my own sketches, and they are kind of scanned in PDF, actually on Aalto kind of scanners. So they're quite crap, to be honest. But I want to just quickly show you how you can sort of quickly lay out them. Or so you have sort of your sketches, but you sort of scan them, or maybe they're just photographs of the things that you did, and you want to kind of have them really nicely sort of maybe lay out them on a page. And this is super easy to do, so I just want to show you how you can do this. Okay, this is a PDF, so you can actually import the PDF straight into Photoshop. If you just select the PDF, go into Photoshop, and you just kind of open it. But you cannot open all the pages at the same time. Or I mean, you can, but you have to sort of open them individually. So you basically have to kind of choose the pages that you want to kind of import. Or so maybe I would choose this page here, and yeah, there are certain sort of conversions here, so resolution, DPIs, and importing it in color. This crop to crop box is usually good. Okay, and now this page will be open. All right, it's here, and maybe let's open a few other pages. So I can just kind of could have actually done it automatically. So maybe I can select a few other ones. Maybe this one here, and this one I have already. I have some organic views here. So maybe something like, okay, maybe this one here. I think I can open multiple, 2 of them, and now they should be both open here. Okay. Okay, and I will now open a new document. So I'll go File, New, Default Photoshop size. So that's one that we would use also for the assignment. Maybe we do portrait, landscape is good, Create. Okay, and again, you can see that I have different files that are open here. They're kind of in tabs, and basically I can just sort of copy paste them. Or so I would come here and I can just sort of select this object like this and sort of copy, paste it here. Oh, it's actually quite big. Okay, so I want to maybe increase the size of this. I want to increase the size of this page. So I go to canvas size, and then maybe let's go 300% in all directions. Okay, so now my canvas, my page kind of just expanded. Okay, we added this guy. There is another way to quickly select objects. So Photoshop, well, it turns out that this is very often what you have to do. You have to kind of select objects. So there is different ways that you can select objects. One of them is this object selection tool. And depending on what image you have, usually it works quite well. You can kind of just select it, and Photoshop will recognize it as a separate object. Of course, here there are some kind of issues, but maybe there's another one that works a bit better. Yeah, maybe this one here would work better. Object selection tool, for example. Hop. I think these dots will not be taken in. Maybe this one is probably better. Okay, so your object needs to be kind of well defined for Photoshop to kind of be able to recognize it. It doesn't need to have a black edge, but it needs to be sort of a closed thing. Or so here the problem is that there are these kind of dots around that blur the area. But otherwise, again, in this example, you can use this again object selection tool, and you can use this even if the background is sort of messy, or even if there are some things in the background. So I can kind of copy and paste this cucumber from hell here. Okay, so maybe that's what we're going to take from this picture. No, I don't want to save it. Here, I can just take all of these. So kind of copy, paste, and yeah, maybe these small guys here as well. Why not? And you can notice that my background here, the paper is not really white. The paper has this kind of a ugly yellowish sort of tone. But I will show you how to correct this. Or so first we just take all the objects in, and maybe this one I have. Okay. Nothing more interesting here. This is not so interesting. Okay. So I have some now elements here. And if I preview the background, you can see these are kind of my crops. This one is kind of nicely cut out. But these ones have sort of a background, which, again, depending on what you need, can be fine. I can individually adjust these. So this is, for example, if I click with Control on this guy here, it selects it kind of as layer 1. Usually for these types of images, the first thing that you would do, if you want it to be sort of black and white, but you don't want your image to be black and white, so you would either change the whole image to grayscale here, or you can just desaturate this part here. So this crop, you can desaturate, meaning you can remove the color from it. If there's some kind of annoying sort of yellow hue, you go here to Image, Adjustment, and just say Desaturate. And now it will become kind of, it's a bit hard to see, but it becomes almost like grayish. And now it's kind of just grayscale, but this is not really nice. Also, this color here, if I go here, for example, with the color picker, and I choose, this is not completely black. So this is some mix of some gray values. And originally this was a completely black fan. It's just that when I scanned it, it became kind of this ugly, kind of ugly mix of sort of grayish pixels. And if I want to change this, of course, the things that you see here, that's this JPEG artifact source. So that's kind of, you cannot really remove it. But I can adjust, I can make this look a little bit better. Also, I can go to Image, Adjustments, and Levels. So now in the levels, this is a histogram. So in the presentation last time, I explained a little bit what histogram is. This is basically shows you if this is completely black range and this is white, it shows you basically how many pixels, or what is the amount of pixels of different colors that we have in the image. And this histogram here shows that there are no pixels that are completely black. And there are some pixels, there are many pixels here that are probably in the background that are kind of not even, they're not fully white, or they're a little bit off-white. So if I want to do kind of a rough adjustment, I can kind of push this slider here and basically just changing the range of these pixels. All right, maybe this one here, a little bit here. And maybe I can kind of lighten, well, darken everything up here. And now I got something that looks a bit kind of stronger contrast. And I can do this with all the other parts. Or I can go here. So select this guy here, Image, Desaturate. And I don't even need to really look at the image. If I look at the histogram, I kind of know already a little bit what is happening. So maybe adjust this one here, this one here. We can also adjust Image, Adjustment, Desaturate, and adjustment levels again. Again, here you see there's nothing black, so I think that's the cucumber here. They all have the same problem because they're kind of all scanned the same way. Okay, and these guys here as well. Adjustment kind of desaturate, and adjustment and just do levels, yeah. Okay, like this, a little bit like this. Okay, and now I'll just compress a little bit the image. I'll compress kind of everything of the image like this. Now let's say this canvas is sort of too big. I want to make it a bit smaller, so I can go again. I can just select maybe this area here, and I can go into Image, Crop. This will now sort of crop my whole image a little bit. Yeah, the histogram is the most important tool as an astrophotographer because yeah, sometimes pixels cannot be seen. And yeah. Okay, what else did I want to show you here? Okay, I will save this as PSD. So here, session number 2, and I will call it, just a minute, let's put it 20. I just realized I might want to give you some break soon, but a short break. Just today's date, 11/03, and Sketchbook editing 01. Okay, let's do a little bit few things. So I can, if I go with Control, I can now select this image here, and I can kind of, cut out this guy a little bit here, move it if I want to. Now, I don't really mind that these guys, that they have a sort of white background, because the white background and the background of these sort of small sort of sketches, they are, it is the same white, or so because it's overlaid, you cannot really see, you cannot see the difference between the background and sort of the, the background that's in these images. So that's of course the goal, because then I'm sort of free how I collage things. And yeah, we can maybe multiply this cucumber here. So again, with Control Alt, I can just kind of pull it. So I basically copy pasted it, and I can do, I'll show you some different transforms, or I can go here to edit. There's a transform, and I can transform the image in different ways. So that's of course very important. I can scale, I can do scale. So I can do, you know, this is uniform. If I hold Shift, then I can have a non-uniform scale. And I can also work in a more precise way by changing the percentage here. Or so I can put, for example, 50% is now 50% image. Let's do one more. With Alt, I can kind of copy it. Another cucumber. Yeah, what else? So there's like a transform. Again, different ones like rotating, skewing, distorting, perspective. I'll show also a little bit later. I can also do flipping, or I can flip the image, for example, in a vertical, like this. Okay, this is how it looks like. Okay, not to kind of dwell too much on these guys. And yeah, I just want to show you sort of, I can save this. I can save this now as a sort of a JPEG, or so if I kind of like this, maybe crop it a little bit more, I can just save it. So file, save as. This is session. It's here. Sketchbook, anything? Okay. I'll just, you can change the format here to JPEG, and this is maybe a first version. Save, and this quality 10 is usually perfectly good for whatever you're doing. So this is going to be fine. I can, for example, also now create different versions of this. So depending on how I'm layouting it, I can, for example, flatten everything. So I can go here on the background, or actually I can click actually anywhere here. I want to flatten the whole image, or I want to kind of lose all the layers. I can go right click, flatten image. Okay, now I can start doing some adjustments. So for example, I can invert all the colors. There's this image adjustment, invert. Okay, so now I have sort of the opposite. Or so I can go again, save as, save this as some version. So number 2. Okay, then I want to maybe go back, and let's do one more. Let's do, I can go sort of to, again, image adjustment, hue saturation, and I can put here colorize, and now I sort of have like some kind of a, yeah, some kind of a darker, yeah, like red version or something like that of it. And just do save as. This is version number 3. So I can kind of completely recolor these drawings. Just to make the free as save. And actually one more that I wanted to do is, if I go back, so Control Z, I can try to invert it, mode or adjustment, invert. And then I can go again, mode adjustment, again, hue saturation, colorize, like this. And yeah, maybe, well, I can go kind of to red, or maybe this time we can kind of go a little bit kind of blue. So now my lines are white, and my background is whatever my background is sort of bluish, or so I can kind of get a completely different look to this drawing. So you can imagine that if you're doing, you know, kind of some graphic design, you can freely sort of choose the color of your lines and the color of the background in that sense very kind of quickly. Create different versions. Okay, just the 4, save. Okay, and now tutorials, yeah, they're kind of all here. So this is the this was the first version, then the inverted version, and kind of colored background and black lines. And this is the color background and white lines. Okay, so kind of just by knowing basically what you're doing, you can sort of quickly recolor the whole image. But this is kind of when you work with sketches, which probably you will work quite a lot in your professional life.